What is going on, you beautiful bastards? Welcome to my channel. I'm Brandon Sylvia, and this is my new YouTube channel. Consider subscribing if you are into, laid back, unscripted video game coverage. You like hearing about the latest in video game news, some reviews, some different topics and discussion points. If any of that sounds interesting to you, consider subscribing. So we got quite a few different news stories that we're going to be diving into today. Everything will be listed down below in the timestamps, but the first thing I want to talk about and dive into is the THQ Nordic Showcase. We talked a little bit about it in my first video, just going through the predictions and speculating on what could possibly show up. And I think for the most part, there were so many leaks, and pretty much all of those leaks were confirmed, especially, start of the show. We immediately get that Alone in the Dark trailer, and I mean, from that moment, I was like pretty much okay with the rest of the showcase. Like, I didn't need much else. I just wanted to see that confirmed. I wanted to see some gameplay of it. I wanted to see it running and know that the rumors were actually true. And they are actually true. We are getting a reimagining of Alone in the Dark. No release date as of yet, obviously, with this being its first, big reveal trailer. But we did actually see a little bit of gameplay. We saw a little bit of the perspective that you're going to be taking on. It does have that Resident Evil remake sort of vibe, the third person, full range of control of your character. And I really liked it from the jump. It immediately, it hits you with some shocking imagery, some shocking themes that it's touching on, and you're like, okay, yeah, they're really going for like a very, very dark tone here with this reimagining of Alone in the Dark. The shooting, it definitely didn't look all the way polished. It seemed like some of the shots you were sending off were hitting the enemies, and they weren't really responding to the shots at all. I know it's still very early in development, but that is something that kind of caught my eye. But regardless of all that, I'm still very, very much excited to see the OG of survival horror making a comeback, especially, it seems like we're kind of entering into a new, I don't want to say a golden age of survival horror, but it seems like a lot of these classic survival horror titles are starting to pop back up on the scene. And for me, someone who that is, my favorite genre, favorite video game genre, I'm just pumped that we're getting more of these titles being remade, or just brand new titles like Callisto Protocol being created. And this is being developed by Pieces Interactive, which are more known for their Titan Quest games. So this is definitely a departure for them, and a brand new, style of experience that they're going to be working on here. So yeah, man, hats off to them. I'm excited to see what they can crank out here with this Alone in the Dark remake. So I'm not going to go through this entire THQ Nordic Showcase, just going to mainly touch on the things that really stood out to me. And something that absolutely stood out to me was that Outcast 2 trailer. This looked really damn good. Reminded me a lot of Dark Void, if you guys remember that game in the 360 era, made by Capcom. It's kind of that Iron Man-esque style of experience, and this was definitely giving me some of those vibes with the jetpack that you're able to fly around and, perform some like aerial combat, and, you're on the ground with the third person shooting. Very similar, once again, to Dark Void. But I know Outcast 1 came out like 20 plus years ago and was beloved, but it was a game that I never got the chance to play. So seeing this new open world kind of action adventure style of experience, I'm absolutely gonna check out Outcast 2. This trailer looked really good and definitely sold me on the game. Another one that really stood out to me was that Space for Sale game. I had never heard of this until this showcase. I'm not sure if this was the first time it was ever announced, but this really stood out to me. It's essentially, you are the new owner of an entire solar system, and you get to kind of play The Sims on this solar system, but it also has like survival elements and some co-op elements. But yeah, it has like the base building and property management, while also trying to survive where these creatures are trying to chase you down. These unknown creatures in space are trying to chase you down and kill you. Like, this just looked really cute, really compelling. It has like that cutesy sort of aesthetic. And yeah, I don't know, it just gives you that No Man's Sky vibe, but with more, Sims-esque elements and survival elements. It's just, I don't know, it's a cool, cute, unique blend that I hadn't seen before, and it really stood out. And then we got an announcement trailer for Gothic 1, the remake. And I wasn't expecting this to pop up, but I'm really excited to see it because I enjoyed Elix 2 quite a bit. And I'd been kind of wanting to dive in to Gothic because fans of Piranha Bytes have said that Gothic is like hands down the best game they've ever developed. So yeah, I think I'm going to check this out because despite the issues I had with Elix 2, I really thought the characters were well developed. I thought the world was really interesting, and I put like 50 hours into the game, finished the main story, and like I said, despite all of its issues, which it had plenty, there was enough there to really keep me hooked. And if people are saying Gothic is the best game that Piranha Bytes has ever made, then yeah, I'm definitely down to check this out. Another one that really stood out was a title called Recreation. And this is kind of like a open world arcadey racing game where you can design tracks in this Tony Hawk-esque manner, and you're able to like race across these tracks as if it's Hot Wheels kind of, and bump people off the sides and have them floating into space, and like it looks totally insane, but really, really fun because like it's a different sort of take on it where it's not this Hot Wheels aesthetic. It's more of a realistic look to the game and to the vehicles, but it's all this insanity where you're creating, you know, your own tracks and making these wild jumps where you're jumping from one platform to the next and trying to land perfectly. And like, there's just a lot of cool things that could take place in this game world, especially when accounting for like community creation and all that. So yeah, this looked fairly interesting to me. Recreation. And then of course we got some updates for like Destroy All Humans 2, Jagged Alliance 3, The Valiant. There was a few games that we got new updates for that looked solid. Destroy All Humans 2, of course, looks really, really damn good. But I'll say overall, the thing that left me the most disappointed, which I guess I should have probably expected this, was the AEW Fight Forever trailer. I'm so looking forward to this game, so looking forward to checking this thing out, but we got nothing. We got the same exact footage that was leaked a few days back, and yeah, that was all we got. I think the game does look interesting. We still don't have a release date for it. We don't have any new gameplay footage to go off of or base our opinions off of, so we're still going off of that leaked footage that we got a few days ago. But I don't know. I was expecting, you know, maybe a little bit more gameplay. Like, I'm not trying to rush the developers into putting a release date on it because, as we'll talk about in a little while, that has turned out horribly for many games. And so it's not like I'm really pushing that agenda. It's just that I really would have liked to seen a little bit more gameplay. I know they said that they're going to have it available at Gamescom for fans to go hands-on with the game. It just would have been nice to see a little bit more than just the stuff that was leaked a few days ago. Even if it was just a, 2-minute segment, 3-minute segment of the game running in live time with a big, bold lettering that says pre-alpha, game is still in development, or whatever the case may be. But I'm very, very excited for that game. I just really would like to see a little bit more of it. I'm assuming at this point, AEW Fight Forever will probably drop late 2023 or early 2024, I would assume. So yeah, not a bad showcase overall. I like how they get in and out of your hair pretty quick. It's like a 45-minute showcase. Doesn't waste too much of your time at all. And yeah, I did not mind that showcase whatsoever. It had like a SpongeBob game in there that was fun and cute and looked kind of Psychonauts 2 inspired. So there was enough there to watch and go, okay, this doesn't feel like it's wasting too much of my time. It knows its place. It's doing what it needs to do and not doing much more than that. So I didn't hate the showcase at all. Thought it was definitely watchable. Okay, so now let's talk about the big breaking news from today. And that is that it's official. We all kind of suspected this would come, but it's officially official. Coming from the official Twitter account for Hogwarts Legacy, the game has officially been delayed. It says Hogwarts Legacy will launch on February 10th, 2023 for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. The Nintendo Switch launch date will be revealed soon. The team is excited for you to play, but we need a little more time to deliver the best possible game experience. And people are, reasonably frustrated with this. I would say, I'm not one of those people who, to me, I don't really care on this one way or the other. I don't care if it hits the arbitrary release date of 2022 or if it gets delayed a couple months into 2023, or I don't care if it gets delayed until 2024. I'm not really even a big Harry Potter fan. I do think the game looks fantastic and I absolutely want to get my hands on it, but I understand why people are frustrated with this. I really do. It's consistently happening time and time again where these publishers are rushing out these release date announcements. This game got a release date announcement for 2021. And then it gets delayed till 2022. Now it's being pushed into 2023. I don't think fans are as much upset or frustrated with the fact that it's being delayed. I think it's more frustration with this misleading rollout of information. You did not think that the game was going to be able to launch in 2021. That makes no logical sense in anybody's brain. But once again, this is a publisher problem, and it's consistently and persistently popping up time and time again with these big AAA releases. These publishers start putting these deadlines and timelines on these developers that the developers know they cannot meet. So it's just a very toxic scenario where the developers know this game is inevitably going to get delayed. And then when the game gets delayed, the developers know the inevitable pushback is going to be directed straight at the developers. People, you've heard all of it, all that horrible garbage toxicity of people sending death threats and the just total lunacy that's on the internet. And it's just, something has to be done here where publishers and developers can, or developers have more freedom in swaying when those release date announcements are going to take place. Because as of right now, it's just looking more and more insane. There's no way that God of War Ragnarok, Sony Santa Monica did not think that in 2020, God of War Ragnarok was going to be able to launch in 2021. I doubt that Bethesda thought that Starfield was going to be able to launch 11/11/2021. Well, I don't know. Actually, that might be backwards. Bethesda might have just launched the damn thing on 11/11/2021, and Xbox might have been like, hey, dude, you gotta put this thing back in the oven. I think that's totally possible. But regardless, the point still remains. There has to come some point where publishers just let their foot off the gas with these early release date announcements, because it's to the point now where if you see a big AAA game with a release date announcement, you just immediately have to tell yourself, okay, yeah, this is going to get delayed at least twice. And that's just an unfortunate scenario for everyone. It's creating too much vile discourse for the developers who are hard at work trying to crank out this damn game. And I will say, I think it's a little bit unfair and misleading to the fans. There's a lot of people out there who really, really love the Harry Potter universe and are desperately awaiting the release of this game. Like I said, I don't really care, but I do empathize with someone who is just sitting there and they played the PS2 Harry Potter games and really enjoyed those, but they've just been craving a Bully meets Witcher experience set in Hogwarts where they can really shape their character, create their character, take that character on the journey that they shape by their choices and by their customization and by their play style. And I totally get why so many people are so highly anticipating this game. It does look really good, but yeah, this is just another very unfortunate delay, and it's just more and more of this weird release date mess that we've gotten ourselves into over the last few years. Delays have always happened, but it seems to be more egregious with each passing year. And I know that COVID is, definitely a factor to consider here. I'm not dismissing the possibility that that caused a lot of disruption in the development of Hogwarts Legacy, but this was happening a little bit before COVID as well on a pretty regular basis. So this is something that definitely needs to be dialed in, and because publishers are creating a really unfair environment for developers to constantly be going into work and feeling that level of pressure, trying to hit timelines and deadlines that they know is just totally irrational and impossible. All right, so now we're going to shift to a real positive story. This was so damn cool. I was scrolling through Twitter today and I saw this game called Squirrel with a Gun. And it's going viral on Twitter. It's just like they have an early pre-build of it. I think it's just one dude working on it. This shit is hilarious. It's just a squirrel robbing people with a gun in this like very realistic looking, possibly open world or open levels that's being built on Unreal Engine 5. The dude who's developing it, his Twitter handle is @QuietDan. I'll include it in the description here. You gotta check this out. He does like developer updates on Twitter, and one of it, like his pinned video on Twitter, is like this close-up shot of the squirrel, and then showing this little squirrel with this big-ass Uzi that he's toting around. It's absolutely hysterical. And I don't know. This is why gaming is great. This is why I love gaming. I love seeing these batshit crazy ideas come to fruition. I really hope that this game can get out the door at some point. I checked the Steam page and it says like release date ? And his reply or his answer is, that's a very good question, or something like that. So it's very tongue-in-cheek, and even if this thing never comes out, I'm just glad that I was able to stumble upon this and see that someone in their free time is working on something this damn unique, creative, and funny. All right, and staying on the topic of Twitter here, where we're going to be talking about Hideo Kojima's Twitter, as he tweeted an image of PT today. And today is the 8-year anniversary of PT, but of course, people began speculating as soon as this image was shared from Hideo Kojima's Twitter account. And, who knows? I doubt this means anything, but there were people who did a little bit of digging on that tweet and went back and looked through his other tweets and were saying that, hey, he hasn't been tweeting out the happy birthday anniversary for PT in year 7 or year 6. So why is he tweeting about it, the anniversary in year 8? And I mean, I feel like that's a decent, you can speculate on that. That's a fun little speculation to have, but it could just be the fact that he saw something reminded him today of PT. He wanted to share an image to, celebrate it, to tip the cap a little bit to a game that he was working on and was passionate about. But I do understand, that's kind of fun. If you want to get a little conspiratorial, you can definitely make some assumptions there. And I mean, we do know that supposedly Kojima right now is working on a new horror game called Overdose, starring Margaret Qualley, who was, in Death Stranding and also in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But maybe this is just Hideo Kojima somewhat. He's in his horror vibe right now. He's in his horror bag. He's thinking up his horror thoughts, going back to the PT days, thinking about what made PT special, how he can implement that into his new game Overdose. He's also developing something for Xbox right now, which we don't know is that anywhere or any kind of relation to this Overdose game. We don't really know as of yet. It's just well, it's actually not speculated. It's confirmed that it's being developed for, the cloud-based infrastructure with Xbox. And yeah, but this was it once again, another tweet that blew up today that caught my attention. And I feel like I'm just naturally that kind of conspiracy guy. My brain's always trying to think about what could possibly be this and this. And then the more, you start rationalizing things, you're like, okay, maybe this probably isn't nothing, but it's at least worth, being like, hey, that's an interesting tweet. Maybe we can see something down the line that is in relation to this in some way or another. All right. And now let's get back to our bitching. Going to talk about this PlayStation Plus Premium offering for the month. Got Nebelian pulled up here. He broke the details down for us. And here are the games that we're getting on PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium for August. Yakuza 0, Kiwami, Kiwami 2, Dead by Daylight, Ghost Recon Wildlands, Bug Snacks, Metro Exodus, Trials of Mana, Everspace, Uno, Monopoly Madness Plus. I don't understand. I think PlayStation Plus Extra is an incredible service. I think it's definitely on par with Game Pass in so many ways. Why does PlayStation Plus Premium exist? I mean, just seriously, why does it exist? I can't begin to understand any reason that this service exists. Just wipe that thing out. I don't think Sony's going to commit to this retro catalog. I don't think they're going to commit to giving us a constant drip feed of solid classic titles. And I think that that's such a valuable service, and it's such a brain dead, just mind-boggling move where that's a total corner of the market that's being completely ignored. You look at Game Pass and they have a few original Xbox games. You look at what Nintendo's doing with its service and giving you, the NES and SNES games that nobody really wants to play. If PlayStation really focused hard on trying to get deals going with Capcom, tried to get deals going with Konami, tried to get deals going with the games or the publishers who made PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 what it was, the games that defined the legacy of those consoles, and brought those classic titles to PlayStation Plus Premium, people would hop on that and happily pay the $18 or the $120 for the year. I know I personally would absolutely stay locked in if we were getting a constant drip feed of 2, 3, 4 games a month, classic retro titles. But we're getting Monopoly Madness and Uno. Where the hell is Dino Crisis? Do you guys remember Dino Crisis was being advertised? Like there was some leak that Dino Crisis was coming to PlayStation Plus Premium, and that's just that nothing. I guess that completely vanished. Maybe that's going to be like an October drop or something like that. And I guess, I'm going to be totally upfront. Like I'm not completely, if this service makes a comeback, or if, this retro catalog just gets a huge boost at some point, I'll happily jump back in at Premium. Happily. I jumped in at the beginning to play Resident Evil, to play a little bit of Siphon Filter, to play, Ape Escape. Like there was a good offering initially, and now we're 2 months in, or, past that initial month, and we have got nothing for the retro offering. And I mean, unless people are just dedicated to wanting, streaming capabilities, or they're dedicated to wanting these trials for games, and they're willing to pay $18 a month to try a game. I'm not saying there's no value in the streaming, or there's no value in the trial periods, but is it $20 a month worth of value? To me, when I saw this program initially, I mean, like, my eyes went starry, because I'm like, oh my God, the only reason they would be announcing this $18 tier is to really focus on this retro catalog, because this other shit they're offering, nobody's going to care about that. Nobody's going to stick around for streaming or for trials. So what they're going to try to do is get people in with this retro catalog. I see it now. That's going to be PlayStation's new focus. That's going to be what their competition, that's going to be the product that they're offering to compete with Game Pass without having to put their games day one on the service. I was like, that is a brilliant business move. And we're playing Monopoly and Uno this month. So I got like 3 more news stories that I want to dive into. I know we're already running pretty long here, but let's try to get through at least 2 of them. I want to talk about I want to talk about this. This is something that made me just really damn happy to see. I'm so passionate about early to mid 2000s sports games. And something that I really enjoyed about early to mid 2000 sports games were like the mini games. Like, you remember back in the day, Madden NFL 2005, where you had like the quarterback drills where they shoot the tennis ball at you and you had to move out of the way and adjust and hit the right target that pops up on the screen. Or NFL 2K5, you have the moments where you can go through and play some of the most iconic moments in NFL history, but playing it in video game form. Or, the dunk contest in NBA Live 2005, 2006, the 3-point shootout, the whole All-Star weekend. Like, There were just so many fun mini games and different modes in early sports games that made those titles stand out to people like me who, would rather play it single player or couch co-op with some friends. And NBA 2K23, shout out to 2K for including, the perfect year, the perfect time to include this mode. They're introducing, or reintroducing, I should say, the Jordan challenges, where you're getting to go through and play through 15 iconic moments of Michael Jordan's career, similar to what was in NBA 2K11, but I think they're adding like 4 or 5 new challenges here. You got like the UNC Michael Jordan, his last game at UNC. You have him playing with the USA team. There's a few new games here that weren't in NBA 2K11. I'm not sure if the USA stuff was in NBA 2K11 or not. I can't quite remember, but they're adding in additional challenges here. They're giving you, like a more grainy presentation to the games to make it have more of that 90s feel. And just the trailer that they showed here was so damn good. It was showing like the switch hand layup where Jordan hits the switch hand layup against the Lakers. It was showing the steal and the push-off shot against Byron Russell, the shot on Elo. It was just full of like really the most iconic moments in Jordan's career, and they packaged it together so well. It was like, yeah, that convinced me. I'm not going to pick the damn thing up for $70 because, it comes out in September at $70. By the time November hits, it's like 30. So I'll happily wait 2 months and pick it up for $30. But this is really why 2K, I would say, I know they have their problems and stuff, but this is the type of thing for me personally that keeps me interested in the NBA 2K games, and hopefully this treatment can start occurring more frequently with the WWE 2K games as well. All right, let's go ahead and wrap it up there. I was going to dive into this Deus Ex story a little bit, but suffice it to say, Jeff Grubb, he broke some news, or some rumors about Deus Ex's potential future. I'm just happy to hear that Deus Ex is in the works, possibly at Eidos Montreal. I'm happy to hear it's at least being brainstormed right now, and people on that team are thinking about it. They're saying they're trying to do what Cyberpunk couldn't. That is compelling to me, but also interesting, and I was going to break that down a little bit, but we'll save it for another time. If Deus Ex ever does get announced, we'll talk about it a little bit more, but that's going to be the show for today. I'm Brandon Sylvia. This is my channel. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, consider liking the video, and like I said before, if you're new, consider subscribing. I'm going to try to drop 3 or 4 of these each week, breaking down the news. We're going to dive into what I've been playing some point within the next few days, talk about Cult of the Lamb, Dragon Age 2, and yeah, that's pretty much all that I've been playing, but we'll be doing all that here on the channel. So I appreciate your support. I appreciate you tuning in, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.